What's up, guys? Welcome back to Newswave. Yesterday was like the day of leaks. I don't know what happened. We have a collection that appears to be coming at some point to all platforms, Switch, PlayStation 4, the Xbox, of an older franchise that is still awesome, and it looks like they're going to be bringing it out with newer visuals and online play, which is cool. The Xbox Series X prototype just appears online, and then Godfall had its internal trailer leaked that a lot of people were looking at and saying that looks like PlayStation 5 footage. Well, we'll talk a bit about all of that today. As always, guys, if you enjoy these videos, make sure you hit that like button. It does help out. I appreciate you guys liking all the videos. It helps out really quite a bit, so I do appreciate that. And if you're new here, make sure you hit the red subscribe button down below with the bell notification on. That way you can stay up to date on all of the gaming news going on in the gaming world. And this is a pretty cool one to start with. So Valve, of course, is doing Half-Life Alyx pretty soon, actually a couple months. And to celebrate that and get everyone ready who maybe has been out of the loop on Half-Life. I mean, if you have Steam, you've probably seen Half-Life at some point in time, but just in case you have not downloaded it and played at least one of the Half-Life games, Valve is making all of them free. So you can just go on Steam and you can just download Half-Life. I mean, like Half-Life 2, a classic. The first Half-Life, a classic. Go play them. Like, just go on Steam, you just play for free, it'll download them. They're pretty small in general because they're older games anyway, so it'll download pretty quick and you can try them out. What a great idea for marketing. And of course there are other expansions and stuff for Half-Life as well, but if you want to try just one, if you're just like, all right, which one should I do? Go try Half-Life 2. I think it still looks good enough to play through. Like, people will look at Half-Life, the first one, and say, I don't know, visually. No, Half-Life 2, classic, go check it out. It's a great marketing strategy there leading up to Half-Life Alyx, and you can do it right now on Steam. Also, Doom Eternal coming up pretty soon, right? In March, and I'm really looking forward to Doom Eternal. It's gonna be really exciting. Now, we of course know the Switch version is pushed out. We'll get to that in a second, but there was a big preview event that seemed to take place, and we had a lot of footage, a lot of hands-on, a lot of impressions that hit the internet yesterday, and we found out how long Doom Eternal is gonna be about, because you could speed run some games, you could take your time going through it, but the average playthrough appears to be twice as long. That's right, twice as long as Doom 2016, which is awesome. This one will take over 20 hours to get through, whereas Doom 2016 was like 10 or 11 hours, somewhere around there. That is awesome. And of course, we see that they are pushing towards more of a story element with some pretty cool cutscenes that we were seeing in footage leading up to its release now. So it's going to be exciting stuff in a couple of months. And Animal Crossing and Doom, coming out same day. That'll be fun to see side by side, especially if you pick up both of them. You go to the carefree world of Animal Crossing, minus Tom Nook, I guess, over your head there, and then going to Doom, running through a bunch of different demons, blasting everything around you. Now, the Switch version is still a ways off, it seems. They didn't really give us a specific time that it's going to come out. They said it's going to be a little bit longer. I would judge a couple of months, maybe. I mean, if it's coming out in March, of course, for other platforms, the Switch version, May, June, somewhere in there, July even. Now, what they are saying is they had to make some alterations. Remember, it was already delayed out of November anyway, so they had to make some alterations, some changes, some additions, and they wanted to give Panic Button enough time to then take those changes and additions and then move them to the Switch after they've been completed on other platforms. Either way, though, March we'll get our first look at Doom Eternal, and I am very excited to check it out. Oh, also, if you missed this, Temtem did officially launch into early access on Steam. Of course, it is like the Pokemon type MMO that it's very, very close to Pokemon, but just far enough away to where they seem to have been able to avoid any legal trouble or any of that. Well, it did launch in early access, and they got hit immediately with a ton of traffic. Seriously, they were fighting quite a bit throughout the day to keep the servers up, keep them running, and make sure the queue times were going down as people were waiting in the thousands just to get on the servers and start playing. And for an early access game that was a Kickstarter, that's pretty good. I would say it seems like it's off to a pretty good start. They have been working to resolve a lot of the issues, and for the most part they have. But if you're looking to pick it up, they're starting at $35 because it's about halfway complete now. It's an early access, but they said it'd take about 20 hours or so to complete the current campaign, and then it will just extend from there. And the price will continue to go up as they work towards the finished product. So if you want to check it out, it might be worth getting in now. I think it's pretty good, especially if you like Pokemon and you want something else that's similar to Pokemon, but slightly different take on it. And guys, with some of the quick news out of the way, let's get into the bigger stuff. Let's start with this Xbox Series X just appearing on Twitter last night. I don't know. It just showed up. It went on Twitter. People started retweeting it and passing it around and throwing it all over the place. I was getting tagged constantly in this thing. But let's check this out. This is actually, as you're seeing here, 2 images were posted. We'll give you some close-ups as well because there are a few things to point out here. This was actually from Doug Draco X on Twitter, where they posted 2 pictures of the Series X prototype. And we know it's prototype because it says it right on the back, clear as day, right next to the manufacturing date, which was in November, by the way, and the serial number, which I'm sure that won't go back to haunt someone out there. But yes, this appears to be legitimate. I checked around myself and talked to some people, and yeah, this is the Series X prototype that is out there right now. And a few things hit me about these images. One, I struggle to believe it because they are as clear as day. It doesn't look like anyone's chasing them, or it's not blurry and taken with a potato. No, that's just how we always see leaks, right? It's like it has to be blurry, or it can't be. It has to look like you're running out of a room trying to snap a picture of a presentation or something. These are very clear, and it makes me wonder if this is an actual leak or if this is Microsoft like, hey, that PlayStation 5 event is coming up soon. Let's go leak that prototype. And then Phil was like, oh, I'll grab mine from underneath the entertainment center. Let's get a few pictures and send them out. It looks like the Series X straight up right here, the prototype images. Now, on the front, it looks pretty straightforward. It's nothing that we haven't really seen because we saw that, of course, in the images during the reveal event, but the back has been a mystery. Thurrott did actually get some documentation showing what the back would be with the ports, but this is as clear as it gets right here, right? And then you can see they have 2 of the USB ports there, Type A, of course, the power on the bottom, Ethernet port, and we have an optical port, 1 HDMI, so it looks like they are dropping, of course, the dual HDMI, which I'm completely fine with because who's really running their TV through it anymore? Not many people. And then we have a port that I am not sure about. That is a strange one. There are some theories already going around. Maybe that's for expandable storage. Also possible this could be a prototype for a development kit that they're passing out or they had sent out. Although, again, it is from November. Although I guess we had heard that there were issues with development kits at the time around then. And then, of course, we lead into the Game Awards and bam, there's a Series X. It's possible this is something they were playing around with leading up to that event as they were trying to work out the design completely. And this was maybe one of the last designs that they had before they did actually put the trailer together and get ready to go at the Game Awards. So if that back isn't for a development kit, maybe it's for expandable storage. Otherwise, it could be a spot for some way to debug when you're going through different games. Either way, though, the clearest look right there of the Series X so far straight up. I don't know if this wasn't a controlled leak, someone's in a lot of trouble because the serial number's there. Very easy to track that. The one problem with not running past the Series X when taking the picture, we can read everything on it. Next up, let's talk about Godfall and the PlayStation 5. Now, we had this unveiled to us during the Game Awards. Remember, it was like, oh, PlayStation 5 game is the first one we saw with gameplay, and it was a pretty big deal, so people were really checking out the gameplay and some of the trailers that we had there, and people were really zooming in, trying to figure out if it looked that much better, but you're watching it over the internet, so it has to be very obvious, or of course compression and streaming will kind of muddy up the image, so if it's not super in your face with some of the effects, it's harder to kind of pick them out. Well, what's strange about this is randomly online, again yesterday, like I said, the day of leaks, we had just the full teaser or the full trailer for gameplay just dropped online. This was actually an internal trailer that they used, I guess, to just show off the game inside the company, and it was just dropped online. I'm not sure how much I can actually show you here because it doesn't appear like they wanted this out there, although, again, you never know with controlled leaks sometimes. It definitely gets the internet buzzing when something like this happens, so it's always possible. But just in case, I'll show you some of the gameplay from, I guess, trailers that have been officially unveiled here, right? I'll just keep it safe there. But what was odd to me is when I saw this trailer, it didn't look that great. Like, okay, it looks good, right? But like, when you think of like that next gen leap, you think of something really big, something obvious. I didn't really see anything that was like, well, this definitely can't be a PS4 game. That just didn't hit me. And then we had some clarification from the Godfall Twitter handle saying, "Hey everyone, we can confirm that the circulating trailer is year-old PC footage used as part of an internal presentation. We are energized by your excitement and look forward to showing you just how far this game has come. Stay tuned for a more detailed look soon." So it is over a year old. It is PC footage, so while everything, for the most part, is developed on a PC, it's not running on a PlayStation 5. It could look a bit different. Some of the effects look pretty good. There were some particle effects that people were really excited about, some of the lighting, so it's not like it looked bad. It wasn't like, it didn't really make you go, wow, that looks really good. And it could look better, of course, in person when you don't have streaming compression and other things there. Because at one point I saw it in like 360p and I'm like, well, I can't tell how good this really looks. But then saw a much cleaner 1080p stream that was put up. So it's tough, right, with this, but I would just wait for the actual reveal. If it's running on PC and it's not even on like a PS5, it's really hard to tell what it'll end up looking. I think Godfall will be at the PlayStation 5 reveal event that we think will be coming up soon-ish, maybe within a month or so, we'll say. So that's probably the time to judge it, because at that point, it'll be more reflective of what the PS5 can do and not of a build from a year ago that was only shared internally. It definitely wasn't something, according to them anyway, that was supposed to be shown to the public, because it's not going to be anywhere near what their finished product was. We'll see, though. I'll give them the chance for when we come up to, of course, the reveal event and we see what Godfall really looks like on the PS5. Next up, let's talk about Mortal Kombat, but not Mortal Kombat 11. What about a Mortal Kombat Kollection? Do you remember how, I think it was last year, we had talked about this because Doc Trey had actually found it on LinkedIn and they posted on YouTube that this seemed to be happening. It was, at the time, a fighting game remaster, and it seemed like it was pointing to Mortal Kombat as a Mortal Kombat Kollection, which was pretty cool to hear about. But then later on, we seemingly found out that it was canceled by Blind Squirrel. At least we thought it was. But now a rating has shown up. Remember, I've told you, when ratings happen, usually that's because they're going to be launching it, or at least revealing it, so that they can start pre-orders and all this stuff soon. Well, check this out. This was on the PEGI board, and you could see right there, Mortal Kombat Kollection online, because, you know, they're going to use a K, of course. Why not? This is from Warner Bros. Entertainment. Mortal Kombat Kollection online is the original Mortal Kombat trilogy that MK fans always wanted. Upgraded art, gameplay, and online features provide an incredible experience that revived the classics, once again with a K, and in quotation marks there, sure. PS4, Xbox One, PC, and Nintendo Switch. It says the release date was yesterday, but that's just for the ratings, so we don't really know when this is going to come out. It could even just be dropped on Twitter. WB could do that, or the Mortal Kombat Twitter handle could do that. It doesn't necessarily have to be shown in like a direct, for example, but I mean, it's very possible it could be. This is really neat. It could be 1, 2, and 3, of course. I don't know if they would go beyond that, because then you start getting into like 4, and I mean, I guess they could do Ultimate Mortal Kombat 3 or even Trilogy. There are a lot of possibilities here as to what would be included in this. I like the idea of redone visuals to make it look a little better on HD sets, and the online play, if done correctly, could be really good. Now, they've played around with this, I think, before on the 360, because I remember buying a Mortal Kombat game at the time, and it wasn't great. It didn't feel good anyway. I think that's what it was. The gameplay didn't feel great or fluid enough. So I'm hoping that they went back to the drawing board here, got a really good collection of Mortal Kombat games together, and they're ready to release it. So now we just have to wait for them to actually show it to us, because when it gets rated, like I said, usually that means it's just about ready to go. So exciting stuff there for old school Mortal Kombat fans, provided that WB can pull it off. And in our last bit of news, let's talk about xCloud and kind of Stadia. See, Stadia's been struggling a little bit now, right? We've talked about this. People are getting a little impatient with Stadia right now, because it doesn't seem like Google's doing a lot to keep it going. The free aspect is still kind of missing right now. Like, I thought they were going to try to launch that this year, and they haven't really even talked about it yet, or at least given an idea as to when we can expect it. So Microsoft has decided to keep putting the pressure on with xCloud. Now, that is in the preview program on cell phones right now, but something I talked about previously is that they have a ton of games that you just, when you're signed up for it and you're part of the program, you just launch the games. They have over 50 games and some of their first-party stuff, some third-party stuff, and now it looks like they are just messing with Google right now with Stadia because they added some new games just out of nowhere. This was yesterday. Check this list out because you're gonna notice one game on here immediately, and that's Destiny 2, which was, remember that was Google's big thing for Stadia? Oh, Destiny 2 is gonna come with the Founders Edition. Well, it's just on xCloud now for Xbox and all of that. So if you have your phone already set up with the xCloud beta program or the preview program they have, you can just play Destiny 2. And then there's also a full list, as you can see, of a ton of other games. It includes the Halo the Master Chief Collection. You also have Civilization 6, Batman the Enemy Within, Wolf Among Us, The Surge, Super Hot. Yeah, the list goes on. And then that just adds on top of the already over 50 games that they have available. Yeah, Stadia is struggling right now against xCloud, and xCloud has not released yet. We still have to see it on desktop PCs to see how that works. But so far on cell phones, you know what? If you have a pretty good connection, it actually works all right. Now look, it's still streaming, so I get that. I prefer the local play myself, right, rather than have to stream it. But for phones, it kind of makes sense if you're out somewhere and you're not near your system, you just want to fire it up and play. I get that, but they have to get the whole thing with the controller figured out because most people will travel with their phone, but not necessarily a controller. So get the on-screen, perfected as much as you can, and it would work, I think, in a pinch. But still, games like Gears and Halo will still struggle with touchscreen controls, but RPGs and slower-based games, yeah, those will probably work fine. And we'll finish up with the comment of the day, as you're seeing here. This is from Chronic Spartan Games saying, turns out that the 4chan PS5 leak now seems credible. If so, we should have a full reveal of the PS5 on February 5th, with pre-orders going live straight after. So I have seen this rumor quite a bit. People tell me about it all the time, and that's because the PlayStation Twitter handle, PlayStation Europe, actually changed their own slogan to "It's time to play," as you're seeing here, and that is something that was named in that rumor. And the rumor also states February 5th, and then a massive wish list of games. Here's what I will say. We will look at that rumor in depth in a rumor wave if it really does get announced for February 5th for that reveal event, which is something we would probably hear about starting next week. Invitations would probably be going out by this weekend to press, to kind of prep and get ready. So if that does indeed happen, as soon as that gets announced, we will go back and look at it. And ladies and gentlemen, that's going to do it here for Newswave. Enjoyed this video, guys. Hit the like button, really helps out. If not, hit the dislike. Leave comments down below about everything we talked about, whether it's the Mortal Kombat collection. Are you excited for that, or do you gotta see? You gotta see what WB comes up with here. Also, what about the Series X randomly appearing on Twitter? Is that a controlled leak, or do you think somebody just got pictures of it from someone at Microsoft and they're like, I'll just throw this on Twitter and it'll work out there? And then I guess Godfall and its gameplay. Thanks guys for watching, and I'll see you next time.